Let me say something that might surprise you. Budgeting won't make you wealthy. I know, every financial article you've ever read, every piece of advice you've ever received, points in the other direction. Make a budget. Stick to your budget. Track every dollar. And here's the thing, that advice isn't wrong exactly, but it's incomplete. And incomplete advice, at 35, 40, or 50, is almost as dangerous as bad advice because it keeps you busy, doing something that feels productive, while the actual problem goes completely unaddressed. Today, we're going to talk about what budgeting actually is, what it isn't, and what you need to add to it. If you want your financial life to actually change, not just look better on a spreadsheet, actually change. This is the bigger picture. Let's start with what budgeting actually is, not what it promises to be, what it actually is. A budget is a map of where your money goes. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. A map. And here's the thing about maps. A map doesn't move you anywhere. It shows you where things are. It shows you the distance between point A and point B, but the map itself does absolutely nothing to close that distance. You still have to walk. This is the fundamental misunderstanding that keeps most people stuck. They spend enormous energy creating the perfect budget, categorizing every expense, tracking every dollar, reviewing the numbers every month, and at the end of all that effort, they know exactly where their money is going. But they're not wealthy, they're just informed. And being informed is not the same as making progress. Here's what I mean. Imagine two people, both earning exactly the same income. Person A has no budget at all, spends freely, doesn't track anything, has no idea where the money goes at the end of the month. Person B has a perfect budget, knows exactly what they spend on groceries, utilities, subscriptions, entertainment, reviews it religiously every month, feels in control. Now here's the question. At the end of 10 years, which one is wealthier? Most people would say person B, obviously. But here's what the data actually shows. If person A had even one automatic investment running in the background, even a modest one, and person B had a perfect budget but directed nothing toward building actual wealth, person A wins by a significant margin. Not because tracking is bad, because tracking, without directing, is just accounting, and accounting doesn't compound. Here's the part that most financial content misses entirely. Budgeting is a diagnostic tool. It tells you what's happening. It does not tell you what to do about it. And most people stop at the diagnosis. They see the numbers. They feel like they understand the problem. And that understanding creates the illusion of progress without any actual movement. This is why people can budget faithfully for years and still feel like they're not getting ahead. Not because they're doing it wrong, because they're doing it incompletely. The budget is step one, not the destination. And confusing a step for a destination is one of the most expensive mistakes in personal finance. In the next part of this conversation, we're going to talk about what wealthy people actually do differently, not instead of budgeting, but after it. Let me tell you something about wealthy people, not the ones who inherited money, not the ones who got lucky with one investment, the ones who built something real over time from a starting point that looked a lot like yours. Here's what they have in common. They all budget, or at least they all have a clear picture of where their money goes. But that's not what separates them. What separates them is what happens after the picture is clear. Most people look at their budget and feel one of two things, either relief, okay, I know where everything is going, I'm in control, or guilt. I'm spending too much on this, I need to cut back. Both reactions stop at the budget. Wealthy people look at the same picture and ask a different question, not where is my money going, but where should my money be going that it currently isn't. That shift from accounting to directing is the entire difference. Let me make this concrete. A person earning a good income tracks their expenses carefully, sees that they spend a reasonable amount on necessities, a reasonable amount on lifestyle, and at the end of the month, whatever is left goes into savings or nowhere, depending on the month. This is most people. Now here's what a wealthy person does differently before the month starts. Before any spending decisions are made, a specific amount is already directed, not whatever is left. A predetermined portion goes toward building something every month, regardless of how the month felt, regardless of what came up, regardless of whether it was a good month or a hard one. The direction happens first, not last. This is sometimes called paying yourself first, but I think that phrase undersells it. It's not really about paying yourself. It's about treating wealth building as a non-negotiable commitment, the same way rent is non-negotiable, the same way utilities are non-negotiable. The wealth building contribution is non-negotiable. Everything else gets what's left. Here's what's powerful about this. It removes the decision. Most people fail at building wealth, not because they don't want to, but because it requires a decision every single month. And decisions compete with everything else happening in a month. The unexpected expense, the opportunity that seemed worth it, the month that was just hard, every one of those things competes with the decision to invest, and sometimes the decision loses. When wealth building is non-negotiable, there's no decision to lose. It already happened before the competition started. That's the difference. Not a secret strategy, not a special investment, a different relationship with the sequence of decisions. There's a word that comes up constantly in personal finance: control. Take control of your finances. Get your spending under control. Control where your money goes. And control is real. Control matters. But here's what nobody tells you about control. Control is not the same as growth. You can have complete control over your finances and still be standing in the exact same place 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine a garden. You spend every weekend maintaining it, pulling weeds, trimming edges, keeping everything neat. The garden looks perfect, under complete control, but nothing is growing because maintaining and growing require different things. Maintaining requires attention and effort. Growing requires planting something. And here's the thing about budgeting. Done correctly, it's an excellent maintenance tool. It keeps the weeds out. It keeps things neat. It prevents the kind of financial chaos that derails a lot of people, but it doesn't plant anything. And a perfectly maintained garden with nothing growing in it is just a very tidy, empty space. This is the gap between controlling your finances and building wealth. Control keeps things from getting worse. Building makes things better. Both matter. But most financial advice stops at control. Know where your money goes. Spend less than you earn. Avoid debt. All true, all important, all maintenance. None of it is planting. So what does planting look like? It looks like directing a portion of your income towards something that grows, independent of your ongoing effort. Not saving money in an account that barely keeps pace with inflation, directing it towards something with real growth potential over real time. Here's what I want you to notice about this distinction. The people who are genuinely ahead financially didn't get there by spending less. They got there by directing more toward things that compound, toward assets that grow while they sleep, toward a second trajectory, running quietly in the background while their normal financial life continues. The budget is what makes the directing possible, because when you know exactly where your money is going, you can see clearly where there's room to redirect, not cut, redirect. That word matters. Cutting feels like deprivation. Redirecting feels like intention, and intention is sustainable. Deprivation almost never is. Here's the practical version of this. You don't need to overhaul your entire financial life. You don't need to eliminate everything that makes life enjoyable. You need to find one amount, however small, that can be redirected. from where it currently goes towards something that compounds, and then protect that redirection, automate it, make it non-negotiable, let it run, while everything else continues. That's the shift. From maintenance to growth, from controlling to building. And in the next part of this conversation, we're going to talk about exactly how that structure works in a real financial life, with real constraints and real competing demands. Let me address something directly, because it comes up every time this conversation happens. I just need to spend less. It sounds right, it feels responsible, and there's truth in it. Up to a point. But here's what nobody tells you about spending less. It has a ceiling, a hard one. You can cut subscriptions, you can eat out less, you can find cheaper alternatives for almost everything. And at some point, you've cut everything cuttable, and you're still not wealthy, because cutting only works on the right side of the equation, the spending side. It does nothing for the building side. Here's a simple way to see this. Imagine two people, both earning $3,000 a month. Person A cuts aggressively, reduces spending from $2,500 down to $2,000, saves $500 a month, puts it in a savings account. Person B doesn't cut as aggressively, still spends $2,300, but redirects $200 into something that compounds at 8% annually after 30 years. Person A has the discipline trophy. Person B has approximately $270,000 from $200 a month. While Person A's savings account barely kept pace with inflation, this is the ceiling of cutting. It generates savings, but savings without direction, without something to compound on, is just money sitting still. And money sitting still loses ground every year to inflation, to time, to the opportunity cost of not being invested. Here's what I want you to understand. The conversation isn't spend less versus spend more. The conversation is, where does the money go after the spending decisions are made? Because here's the truth. You could spend exactly what you spend today, not a dollar less, and still build significant wealth over time. If a portion of what comes in is directed somewhere that compounds, before the spending decisions begin, not instead of cutting. In addition to whatever cutting makes sense for your life, but the cutting is not the engine. The direction is the engine. Cutting just gives you more fuel, and fuel without an engine goes nowhere. Let me be clear about something. I'm not saying budgeting is bad. I'm saying most people use it wrong, and there's a difference. A hammer isn't bad, but if you use a hammer to try to tighten a screw, the problem isn't the hammer. The problem is how you're using it. Budgeting is one of the most powerful financial tools available, but only when you understand what it's actually for. Here's what a budget is for. Clarity. That's it. A budget exists to give you a clear picture of the gap between what comes in and what goes out, and more importantly, to show you where the opportunity is. Not the opportunity to spend less, the opportunity to redirect more. Here's a simple way to think about this. Your budget has two sides. The left side is everything that's already spoken for. Rent, utilities, food, transportation, the non-negotiables. The right side is everything that's flexible. Subscriptions, dining out, entertainment, the things that vary month to month. Most people, when they budget, focus entirely on the right side. How do I spend less here? Can I cut this subscription? Should I eat out less? And that focus, while not wrong, misses the more important question, which is, how much of this right side can be redirected, not eliminated, redirected? Because here's the truth about the right side of your budget. Every dollar there is a choice, not a fixed cost. A choice, and choices can be made differently. Not all of them, not even most of them, but some. Even a small sum, redirected consistently, compounds into something real. Here's the framework I'd suggest. Look at your budget not as a restriction, but as a resource map. It shows you exactly what resources you have and where they're currently going. Your job isn't to minimize the map. Your job is to optimize it, to ask for each category. Is this the best use of this resource, given what I'm trying to build? Not, is this too much? Is this the best use? Those are different questions. One leads to guilt and deprivation, the other leads to intentionality, and intentionality is the foundation of everything we've been discussing. Here's the practical version. Pick one category in your budget, just one. Something flexible, something where, if you're honest, the amount could be slightly lower without meaningfully changing your quality of life. Not dramatically lower, slightly. Take that slight difference and redirect it automatically before the month starts, before the spending decisions compete for it, and then don't touch it. Let it go where it's supposed to go and watch over months, over years, what that one small redirection becomes. This is how budgeting becomes a wealth-building tool, not by making you spend less, by making you direct more toward what actually compounds. In the next part of this conversation, we're going to talk about the most common mistake people make. Even after they understand all of this, let's get practical, because everything we've discussed is only useful if it translates into a number, a real one, something you can actually act on. So let me answer the two questions that are probably forming right now. How much should I redirect? And where should it go? Starting with how much, the honest answer is whatever you can sustain, not the maximum possible, not the amount that makes the month feel like punishment, the amount that can run automatically without you noticing it's gone, month after month, for years. Because here's what matters more than the amount: the consistency. $50 a month, sustained for 30 years, beats $500 a month, sustained for 2 years, and then abandoned, every time, without exception. So start with what's sustainable, not what's impressive. A simple framework that many people find useful is to redirect a percentage of income rather than a fixed amount. Why percentage? Because it scales automatically. If your income grows, the redirection grows with it, without requiring a new decision, without requiring willpower to increase it manually. It just adjusts. 10% is a common starting point, not because it's magic, because for most people, it's enough to matter over time, without being so large that it disrupts daily life. If 10% feels too much right now, start with 5 or 3, or whatever is honest. The number matters less than the habit, and the habit is what compounds. Now, where should it go? This is where most people get stuck, paralyzed by options, afraid of choosing wrong, and so they choose nothing, which is the only truly wrong choice. Here's a principle that simplifies this. Broad beats narrow. Every time, for most people, owning a piece of everything, rather than betting on something specific, has historically outperformed most of the alternatives, not dramatically, quietly, consistently, over long enough periods of time. The specific vehicle matters less than the decision to start and the discipline to stay. Because here's what the data shows consistently. The investors who build real wealth over time are almost never the ones who found the perfect investment. They're the ones who started early, stayed consistent, and resisted the urge to change course every time the market made them uncomfortable. That's it. Start with whatever percentage is sustainable, direct it somewhere broad, automate it, and then leave it alone. Let time do what time does. Let me tell you about the most common mistake, not the obvious one. Not, I spend too much. Not, I don't earn enough. Something subtler than both of those. The most common mistake is waiting for the perfect amount. Here's what that looks like. Someone understands everything we've discussed. The budget as a tool, the redirection, the compounding. They get it, and they decide they're going to start, but not yet. Not until they have more to redirect. Right now, I can only redirect $50 a month. That's too small to matter. I'll start when I can do 200. And so they wait. for the raise, for the debt to clear, for the right moment. And while they wait, the $50 stays where it was, going nowhere, compounding nothing. Here's what $50 a month actually becomes over 30 years at a historical average return, more than $100,000 from $50 a month, from the amount that felt too small to matter. Here's the deeper truth about waiting for the perfect amount. The perfect amount never arrives feeling perfect. When the raise comes, lifestyle adjusts to meet it. When the debt clears, something else competes for that space. The perfect moment keeps moving forward, just out of reach, while the clock keeps running. This is the mistake, not a lack of knowledge, not a lack of discipline, a belief that the amount needs to be significant before it's worth starting. It doesn't. The amount needs to be consistent. Consistent beats significant every time, over a long enough period. Now here's the structure that actually works, not a complex system, not a spreadsheet with 17 categories, something simple enough to actually run for years. Step 1, know your number, the total that comes in every month, not approximately, exactly. Step 2, identify your non-negotiables, the fixed costs that don't move. Rent, insurance, utilities, these are protected. Step 3, before anything else, before groceries, before entertainment, before anything flexible, redirect a percentage, however small, towards something that compounds automatically the same day income arrives. Step 4, live on what remains, not on everything that came in, on what remains after the redirection. This single change in sequence changes everything. Most people spend first and redirect what's left, which is often nothing. This structure redirects first and spends what's left, which forces the adjustment, without requiring willpower every month. The adjustment happens once when you set up the structure, and then it just runs month after month, year after year, compounding quietly. In the background of your financial life, while everything else continues normally, that's the structure, not complicated, not requiring sacrifice beyond the initial setup, just a different sequence applied consistently for long enough to matter. Let me tell you what happens when this structure is actually running, not in theory, in real life. The first thing that changes is surprisingly subtle. The anxiety changes, not disappears, changes. Most people carry a specific kind of financial anxiety. It sounds like, I should be doing something about my finances. I know I'm not where I should be. I'll sort it out when things settle down. That anxiety is the anxiety of knowing something needs to happen and nothing happening. When the structure is running, that specific anxiety quiets. Not because everything is solved, but because something is happening automatically every month, whether you think about it or not. There's a version of you 30 years from now being taken care of by a decision you made today, and that knowledge changes how the present feels. The second thing that changes is how you relate to your budget. Remember what we said at the beginning, a budget is a map, not a destination. When there's nothing to redirect toward, the budget feels like a restriction, a list of things you can't have, a measure of everything you're doing wrong. When the structure is running, the budget becomes something different. It becomes a resource allocation tool. You look at it differently, not where did it all go, but is the redirection protected this month? That's a completely different relationship with money, one that feels like agency instead of guilt. The third thing that changes is time, not how much time you have, how it feels. When nothing is building, time passing feels like loss. Another month, another year, still in the same place. When something is compounding, time passing feels different. It feels like progress, even when you can't see it yet. Because you know, underneath everything, the snowball is rolling, quietly, invisibly. getting slightly larger with every month that passes. Here's what I want you to take from this. The goal of everything we've discussed today isn't to make you richer faster, it's to change your relationship with time from something that passes while you wait to something that works while you live. The structure doesn't require your attention to run. It doesn't require discipline every month. It doesn't require perfect conditions, or a perfect amount, or a perfect moment. It requires one decision, made once, set up correctly, and then protected from the competing demands that will always be there, always. The demands don't disappear, you just stop letting them win every single month. If you're still here, I want to stop for a moment, because what we've covered today isn't complicated, but it is different from most of what you'll find when you search for financial advice. Most content tells you to budget more carefully, track more, cut more, restrict more. We talked about something different today. Not restriction, redirection. The budget as a map, not a destination. The difference between controlling your finances and actually building something with them. The mistake of waiting for the perfect amount, that never quite arrives. And the structure that works, not because it's complex, but because it's simple enough to actually run for years. If something here landed differently, if this felt like a conversation you needed to have, I'd invite you to stay close to this channel. Subscribe, not for tips or shortcuts, for the kind of thinking that changes how you see money permanently, and share this with someone who's been budgeting faithfully for years and still wondering why nothing seems to change. They're not doing it wrong, they're just doing it incompletely. This conversation might be exactly what completes it. And now, let's finish what we started, because there's one more thing, the thing underneath everything we discussed today. Not a strategy, not a framework, something more fundamental than both. Here's the question I want you to sit with. What is the budget actually for? Not in general, for you, specifically. Because here's what I've noticed. Most people budget without a clear answer to that question. They budget because they're supposed to, because it feels responsible, because someone told them they should. And budgeting without a clear purpose is like driving without a destination. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere specific. The structure we talked about today, the redirection, the automation, the sequence, all of it only works as well as the answer to that question. What is this for? Not financial security in the abstract, not retirement as a vague concept somewhere in the future. Something specific, something real, something that, when you think about it, makes the redirection feel worth protecting. Because here's what that answer does. It changes the budget from a restriction into a tool in service of something you actually want. And tools in service of something you actually want are the ones you actually use consistently for years, for long enough to matter. I want to end with something honest. Budgeting won't make you wealthy. We said that at the beginning, and I want to come back to it now because it means something different than it did 30 minutes ago. It doesn't mean budgeting is useless. It means budgeting is incomplete. Without direction, a map is useless. If you never decide where you're going, a tool is useless. If you never pick it up for a purpose, and a budget is useless. If it only tells you where your money went, without ever asking where it should go instead. Here's what I want you to take from today. Not a new app, not a new spreadsheet, not a new system with 17 steps. One question. After you look at your budget this month, instead of asking, where did it all go? Ask this instead. Where could even a small part of this go differently? Starting now. Not next month. Not when the debt clears. Not when the raise comes. Now. With whatever is available. However small. Because here's the truth about small. Small, directed consistently, over time, becomes something that surprises you. Not immediately. Not even soon. But eventually, and eventually, has a way of arriving, faster than expected, for the people who started small and didn't stop. I've watched people transform their financial lives, not with dramatic gestures, not with windfalls or lucky breaks, but with one small redirection, protected month after month, until the compounding became visible, until the second trajectory, running quietly in the background, started to feel real. That's available to you. Not someday, now. With whatever your budget shows you is available to redirect, the budget isn't the destination, it's the beginning of the conversation between where you are and where you're going. And that conversation starts with a number, however small, redirected with intention, protected from the competing demands, that will always be there. Always. The demands don't disappear, you just stop letting them win. Every single month. If this conversation has been worth your time, share it with 5 people who have been budgeting faithfully and wondering why nothing changes. The answer isn't to budget more carefully. The answer is in this conversation. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you're going to redirect starting this month, even if it's small, especially if it's small. And tell me what you want to talk about next, because the next conversation starts with what you need most. This is the bigger picture: money, wealth, and the life you're building. We'll see you in the next one.